There is a crime happening in almost every home around the world every single day. It happens completely in silence, and yet no one ever calls the police. There are no sirens, no courtrooms, and absolutely zero immediate consequences. That is because the target of this crime isn't a wallet or a piece of jewelry, our tasks. We project tomorrow as this magical oasis where suddenly we possess infinite energy, endless focus, and perfect discipline. But the moment the clock strikes midnight and that tomorrow becomes today, the motivation vanishes, and the oasis slides exactly one day further into the distance. It turns out, tomorrow isn't a symbol of hope. It is a comforting lie we engineer to excuse the guilt of doing absolutely nothing today. It is completely natural to tell yourself that putting off a task by a single 24-hour cycle is harmless. We treat it like a victimless act. Say you decide you want to learn a new language, or finally start that business you've been sketching out on napkins, but the friction feels heavy, so you decide to wait until Monday. This diagram illustrates exactly what happens next. You approach a decision point, and when you choose to delay, an entire vibrant alternate reality is permanently severed. The branch that collapses takes everything down with it. The people you would have met speaking that language, all the places you would have traveled, the specific life you would have lived. Every time you push a meaningful task aside, you are quietly assassinating an alternate, superior version of yourself. So why do intelligent, ambitious people consistently fall for such an obvious cognitive trap? Look at how we are raised. We spend the first 2 decades of our lives in school, absorbing massive amounts of external information governed by rigid schedules and ringing bells. But in all those years, we are never taught the psychological mechanics of internal discipline. We never learn how to manufacture drive when the teacher leaves the room and the deadlines disappear. When we hit adulthood and step outside that structured bubble, we lack the mental tools required to fight our own internal friction. Without that training, we default to the lie of tomorrow. We use it as a psychological lullaby to soothe ourselves to sleep, completely avoiding the sting of our own inaction. Realizing how many potential futures you have already let slip by can induce a paralyzing amount of guilt. Escaping this cycle requires understanding the mechanical friction of starting. Think of your task like a massive, stalled, heavy truck sitting on a quiet road. This chart tracks the energy required to move that truck. Notice how the energy demand spikes massively right here at the 0 mark. Pushing that heavy frame the very first inch requires nearly all of your physical strength. But watch what happens to the math once the vehicle actually moves. The moment you clear that first inch, kinetic energy takes over, the friction drops, and the effort required plummets. Your brain operates on the exact same physics. When you look at an entire project, your mind perceives a massive, immovable mountain of work, and it shuts down in fear. The secret to taking action is blinding yourself to the mountain. Don't worry about writing the whole book or running 5 miles. Just commit to the friction of the first step. Open the document. Tie your shoes. Just move the truck 1 inch. The past is a locked vault. The events inside are sealed, and they can never be altered or accessed again. And tomorrow, as we've seen, is a beautifully fabricated defense mechanism, completely devoid of actual existence. Strip away that comforting lullaby of future possibilities. Stop running toward the mirage and face the raw, unpolished friction of the present moment. Because the only place a future can actually be forged and the only reality that truly exists is today.